Welcome to Soul Thrive, where we explore spirituality through healing trauma, shadow work, and applying the laws of the universe in order to master ourselves without the fear of the unknown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Soul Thrive podcast. Season 2, we have a special guest, the first guest of this new season. With us today is Jen Axe. Jen is a transformational speaker and an embodiment expert. She helps leaders into the wisdom of their bodies so they can make confident choices, avoid burnout, and lead with authenticity. Her passion comes from her own story. She spent years struggling with self-doubt, only to discover that kinesthetic and emotional intelligence exists within her. Before stepping into this work, Jen spent 16 years teaching children and empowering teachers to use their natural intelligence in learning and leading every day. And she's also got a new book out called Your Body is Speaking. Welcome, Jen.
Welcome, Jen. We're so excited to have you on the Soul Thrive podcast, season 2. We're excited. I want us to dive into this conversation because you've got a lot of history here. You got a lot of really good information to offer individuals, and I'm excited for our audience to get to know you a little bit more. And maybe you can even offer tools towards the end, all that fun stuff. But I know everyone knows who listens, Yvonne is prepared. And I just show up. So Ivana, let's do your thing.
I've got questions, and I like to start with your personal sort of like journey and how this whole journey happened for you. Was there a moment at one point when you said, okay, there's this intelligence inside of me. I have to follow this new path. Tell us about like, how did this journey come about?
Yes. Thank you, first of all, so much for having me. I love your energy. I'm excited to be here. I love your mission. Yay. So it started really when I was in elementary school, and I realized that I didn't learn the traditional way. You know, everything was presented in this logical, mathematical way through high school and even into college. And I just felt out of sorts. I just felt like I wasn't absorbing the information the way it was being presented. I developed this story about myself that I wasn't smart since I was really, really little. It took deep root inside of my soul, and year after year after year, it just got broader and bigger and took up more space in my body. It was extremely debilitating. It was a very, very difficult limiting belief to minimize it because honestly, it was causing massive chaos in my body for years. The thing that kept me grounded was that I had dance. I didn't realize the power of dance and that it was such a gift to me until later when I did the research, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But it really, truly kept me grounded throughout this massive, tumultuous time. So in my late 20s, I had that rock bottom moment where I was actually invited to dinner with John F. Kennedy Jr., former president's son, for people that don't know that, because it's been a long time since he was president. But I was invited to this dinner with him and his wife and my boyfriend at the time. And it was like this crazy invitation that was once in a lifetime. But I just got completely overwhelmed. I heard, you're not smart enough. You're not worthy. You can't sit at a table with JFK Jr. Like, no way. So my whole body shut down and the night was difficult. Let's just put it that way. I did not go, but that was my rock bottom. And that was the night when I said, enough, I'm done feeling this way. I have to find out who I am and how I learn and what my power is. And so that's when I decided to get up and start doing whatever I was doing. I didn't know what I was going to do, but one thing led to another. And I found the research of Howard Gardner, who was a professor at Harvard University and a psychologist, and Daniel Goleman, who is also a science journalist and psychologist. And both of these men have done extensive research on many forms of intelligence that we all have, right, in different ways. But there are 9 specifically, and we all sort of gravitate to different ones in different ways. Mine was kinesthetic intelligence, the physical ability to learn, process, heal, and express through movement, hence the dance, right, which I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then emotional intelligence, which is our innate ability to understand how we feel, what these instincts are, have an ability to manage our emotions, and have the awareness of others. So it was this research that started my awakening and returning to the truth of who I was. And a lot happened after that, but that was the moment. And that was the tipping point for me.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, like, it's such a journey to go. I mean, you were invited to sit at a table with JFK Jr. Like, that's
Yeah.
insane, but I can
Yeah.
see all the insecurities show up that way. I would probably feel the exact same way, that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough to keep a conversation. And interestingly enough, I'm sure had you sat at that table, probably would not have been received that way, because we have our own perception, we have our own ways of viewing our reality. But I relate to in a lot of ways where, I'm neurodivergent, I'm dyslexic. And so I struggled with my own childhood in a lot of ways where that limited belief was, you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, you're not capable enough. It's so important. I'm so glad that you're touching on this part where we do all learn so differently, and we have to lean into not conforming into the exact same way. Unfortunately, it's still in our school systems. I wish that they could take this system and start incorporating it in there. It would really make children thrive in so many different areas. I think that in some senses that it would also help us figure out our purpose a little faster if we were to lean into this way of acknowledging our intelligence. That would be really cool.
Absolutely. And this is a great segue because ironically, and I don't think it was ironic, I think it was
No.
fine, honestly, when I felt empowered, when I really did the research and I was starting to feel empowered by this knowledge and reconnect and realign to who I am, all of a sudden I was introduced to an organization that had been around for 35 years at that time, specifically teaching children curriculum through the arts,
Right.
empowering children through the arts. So we weren't an after school program. This was a program embedded inside of the daily curriculum. So I gravitated to this organization, and I couldn't get over the methodology. It was teaching curriculum with singing, dancing, all of it, poetry. And I thought, oh my God, this is exactly what I needed when I was a child. So I mastered this methodology so quickly because it not only healed me, it allowed me to really create impact. I started training teachers all over the country and the teachers here in New York, and it just became my thing. And then COVID hit, and that's another thing. But for about
Right.
18 years, that's what I did. How
Wow.
crazy is
Yeah, I
that,
know, that's
right?
beautiful. I wish that that was incorporated a little bit more. For me, I think it would have been, and I don't know if you relate to this, Ivana.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you run really well with structure and routine, and like that's the way that you view step-by-step process. Whereas I'm not, because I have this like way of viewing things from
Mhm.
past third dimensional ways of operating. I could see perspective and solution and
Yeah.
alignments and other things so differently. So
Right.
it's really interesting. And I think it's phenomenal that you were given this opportunity to really make that impact on a lot of people, children specifically, because movement is so imperative. It is so healing on so many different levels. We laugh because Ivana says, I like to work out. We have this conversation quite frequently, but she's harder on herself when it comes to working out. I like leisurely movements and different ways of expressing myself. And I think that there's no wrong way of expression, which is the beauty that makes us unique in who we are in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
embraced a lot of variety.
you
Like,
know,
I won't do yin yoga because that just it's just not my thing. But I will do like vinyasa, hit. I'll go to the gym. But I get it because I feel like on the days that I don't move my body, I am not okay.
mhm.
And I think it was when I started to pay attention more to the physical aspects of my body. That's when I think my self-awareness also went up
Yeah, absolutely.
tenfold because I would, and we do this work together when I would like just the simple fact of sitting down and being like, where does it hurt today?
Yeah.
Where am I tense today? Like, am I tired today? Am I energized today? Do I have pains on the right side, masculine, or is it on the left side, feminine? So all of that wisdom like has served me. But I'm curious. I would love to talk about maybe your process a little bit and sort of like how this comes to life in practical ways with the clients and the people that you teach.
Yeah.
So I would love to sort of hear more about your methodology and then a little bit about what you share in your book too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much. So when everything shut down, the pandemic, after this long career of teaching this embodied way of learning, I knew still that I could help people, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But at this point, I had so much research under my belt, so much experience under my belt, not just with this organization. I was also a sales manager, so I had the corporate thing, but I used embodied leadership in there. So I had all these different points of reference and information. So I just started meeting people on Zoom, asking them to stay close to the camera so that I could look into their eyes and feel their emotions, right? Feel their energy. And I would ask them to embody, because I knew the body has to be a part of this journey of understanding, unlocking, and transforming and all the things. So I asked them to embody their emotions with their hands. Right? Because I didn't want to do this big dance thing, because I needed to stay connected, emotional intelligence. I needed to feel that energy and emotion. And then I also wanted to use the body. So this was the blend that I came up with. So I started asking them to embody their emotions with their hands, whether it was like, fists coming together with frustration, or like overwhelm with their head, or panic in their heart, whatever. I mean, honestly, I have seen thousands of gestures at this point, and it is so phenomenal. And then we used that to embody something that it would transform into, whether it was lightness, confidence, calm, clarity, whatever. The hands all of a sudden became this catalyst for transformation. And I was blown away by what I was witnessing. And so I kept saying there's so much power in gesture. And I started doing the research behind the brain-hand connection. And to find out, there's so much. And so it is no coincidence that we can use our hands to transform and unlock that intelligence within us. So I trademarked the power of gesture. I started doing that throughout the pandemic. And then I started writing the book, because your body is speaking, and we use the hands, the power of gesture, to unlock what it is saying, to unlock the wisdom and trust it and be guided by it. And then, so that's the practice. And it's really, the last thing I'll say about this in this moment is just that I just did a TEDx talk, and it actually just came out yesterday.
I noticed it on your Insta. Congratulations on that. Yes.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Thank you. So, but I took the audience through a mini power of gesture. And the thing that I shared there that I really want everyone to know in this practice is that what I've learned from the people that I've worked with, and at this point, it's a lot. So I feel like I can stand strong in this statement and say that when we feel those limiting beliefs like self-doubt, worry, pain, fear, I'm not good enough, whatever, all that stuff, gestures shrink. Our gestures contract. Yes. We go inward, right? We can all relate to that. Yeah. And then when we feel confident, when we feel alive and ready, our gestures expand. So it's this play on, or this invitation around expansion and contraction. Yep. And so for people to think, well, how do I use the power of gesture? That's like a very basic thing, but it's really foundational and something that people can wrap their head around.
Yeah, it's so funny that you're bringing this up. Yesterday, I was kind of looking at, I want to bring more symmetry in my body, want to bring more symmetry in my vision, and, just working in general, finding that balance, that stillness within myself. And so I was just kind of scrolling through Instagram, and then there was this woman who's a neuroscientist, and she was talking about Alzheimer's being such a thing in her family. And just by doing one simple hand gesture that she was doing, this was her way of saying, I'm keeping my brain active and I'm making sure. And then she made you tune into this, like with your eyes open. And I was struggling with my eyes open. I was like, I can't get the gesture right. And then she goes, close your eyes now and do the same gesture. And it just flowed so much easier. And she was just like, this is the way your brain is processing the situations externally, how you're processing them, and then how you can now access this part of your mind with just a simple gesture. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, oh my God, why are we not incorporating more of this in our day-to-day life, right? Why are we not taking the time to kind of exercise our brain? Because it's like that's what you're communicating and what I'm interpreting right now. It's like a level of accessing, because we don't access all our brain, obviously. This is a way of us kind of tuning in to strengthen that muscle
Yeah.
and be able to identify how we process, how we communicate, how we operate, how we view our life, all our experiences. And it's in a simple gesture. It was insane. It blew my mind. Like I was like, I cannot believe I'm watching this. And now you're reiterating this now. And I'm just like, well, that makes sense to me.
I really would love for you to forward that to me.
Oh,
Not
definitely.
seen really anything around this, so that excites me. I love that.
Yeah, she's a
Because it makes
neuroscientist. It's
sense.
phenomenal. Like there's so much science and information to back this up. And we are just not, I mean, besides us just knowing the basics, like read more or like turn your phone off, don't use too much screen time or whatever. But we're in such a fast-paced society. We're consuming so much all day, every day. We're not exercising the brain. Our eyes are overworking themselves too in so many different ways. By just doing simple gestures with our hands, we can reprogram the way that we're operating and stressors that we're downloading consistently in our being, right? So it was really cool. All of this is really cool.
I'm curious for people who maybe have never done this before, right? There's a lot of people who are totally disconnected from their bodies. Where do they start? Like, what would you tell them? How do you start to tap into understanding what your body's even trying to tell you?
Yeah, it's such a good question. So the first thing really is to know this information that the body knows. It is scientifically proven. The body knows before the mind. Kinesthetic and emotional intelligence are absolutely real things. So to know that when someone's like, okay, now what? Then we start to pay attention. So we notice, right? So if you're in a situation where someone's completely triggering you, or you're at a job interview and you're freaking out, or you're about to get on stage and do a presentation and your nerves are just on fire, notice, really feel that, and don't ignore it. When you notice it, I use an acronym called, it's GIFT, because I believe that we have a gift within us, this gift to reconnect and return to the truth of who we are, this soulful intelligence. So the G is ground, right? So we notice something's going on. Okay, gift, ground. And how I ground in this practice is by doing a body set. So we're always in the mind, mindset, mindset, mindset. Everything has been focused from the neck up. This is an invitation to body set, which is how we ground. Hand on your heart, hand on your belly, close your eyes. So if someone's like, well, I can't do that because I'm like in the middle of this crazy conversation with somebody and I can't like ground right there, you know, it's the next available moment that you have. Go to the bathroom, take a walk, something. So ground. And what I have found is that the I is really essential in GIFT. I allows us to imagine, to put ourselves in that scenario that made us uncomfortable. So see it, then to feel it. Because a lot of people, like you said, can't feel their emotions, don't understand how to connect to them. So the I is essential, I have found. So we ground, we imagine by visualizing and seeing ourselves in the scenario that made us uncomfortable or triggered us in any way. F is the feeling, because you'll feel it when you see it. And then T is transform, which is transforming the energy into the power of gesture. So ground, see it, I feel it. Now you create a gesture from that. I have a lot of gestures, right? Because I've worked with so many people, but I don't give the gesture to people. I can offer a couple gestures here, but it really comes from the person.
Oh,
the
interesting.
person creates a gesture based on how they feel. So if they're feeling anxious in their heart, their hand might be like this. It has to come from them because it's their expression. So they might do this, which if people are listening and not watching, my hand is like fluttering in front of my heart, right? And then you use your imagination again, see yourself in a very calm state. Maybe you're at the beach or walking through the park or, you know, meditating in the morning. Like put your mind there, then you feel it and use that energy to then transform it and calm the energy, slow the hand gesture down, maybe, and then it ultimately relaxes on your heart. So the G.I.F.T journey is a really good guide for people. And there's no right or wrong to do it. And yes, the interesting thing, two things is it comes from the person That's number one. And the other thing is to really honor the discomfort. In this practice, I'm not trying to fix anybody. I'm not trying to say, let's bypass the discomfort and just get to the happiness. That's like
Yeah.
not, that's not sustainable. I have found that when we honor the truth, honor the angst, honor the doubt, honor the question, whatever it is that we want to wish away and be something else. I wish I wasn't so this or that. And we're always judging ourselves. Really give that voice an opportunity to be heard with the hand gesture. And once it's heard, it can slow down, it can calm down, your nervous system relaxes, because it's like a person that just wants to be validated, seen and heard. That's it. It's just like that inside of our soul. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
No, absolutely.
Does that mean that as the gesture slows down, you're kind of like processing it more, and like that's where that like transformation, like you're transferring even that energy from your body to the outside, right?
Absolutely. You're transforming it into something that's going to now serve you. However, in the practice, it's very specific that we repeat the gestures and we do it so we do this and then we, slow it down so that we can hear what our body is saying. The repetition and the slowness is essential, because if we just move through it quickly, we're going to miss the wisdom. And our body speaks as we're doing the gestures. So yes, in that whole process, we're transforming, but we're not saying it's gone. We're saying we're learning.
We're present with it, right?
It's wisdom, and that's the invitation. This is wisdom. This is intelligence. We want to know why we're so off, why we're feeling so off. We want to know why we're so insecure. We want to know. I mean, I had to lean so deep into my insecurities around my intelligence, and it still creeps in there. Thank God I'm not where I was, but it's never going to go, in my opinion, it's never going to go away, those things. Instead, if we lean in with curiosity and compassion, then we'll be able to learn. So we get out of that judgment zone of I wish I was this or that, and more like I am this or that, and it's freaking powerful, and I'm going to learn from this thing. It's shifting the perspective, and it's so important.
And what do you think? You know how people always talk about, I think Tony Robbins talks about power poses.
Yeah.
Kind of like standing tall and like chest out before like a big interview or a big conversation or a meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think about that stuff?
Huge.
Like, does that work?
Absolutely. It feeds right into the power of gesture. It's a gesture he's talking about. Amy
Right.
Cuddy is the one that did the power pose. She did a TEDx a long time ago, and she's incredible. And she speaks to this completely. I mean, if anybody wants any research around this, just go to her book Presence, because it's all there. And yes, I believe in that. I do a lot of, in my book, embodied affirmations. So it's like, you say something is one thing, but to feel it and embody it with a gesture is another. It locks it in when we bring in the body. So absolutely, I support all of that.
I think for children, it's phenomenal to do that and reiterate that. It's no different than learning how to write your name on a repetitive, pen and paper. You're sitting down as a little kid, you're creating that neural pathway. And for children, I think this is a great process because you're teaching them how to repeat this pattern and to affirm it and to embody it. And it's going to take a lot more for an adult to do that because we're so complex. But if we could just kind of get into the habit of even recognizing that we're exercising a process for ourselves, it gives us the opportunity for evolution, expansiveness, that not getting into the contraction of it, but opening ourselves up to what that energy could feel like through movement and through gestures. Like, as I always do, I talk with my hands all the time.
Is that also like that must be a thing? Yeah.
All the time I talk with my hands. I mean, I have to remind myself not to be too much, but I think it's just the way that I operate, right? It's like my gestures are this, or I'm very open like that. And I want people to recognize that that's just the way I express myself. And that's not good, nor is it bad. It just is, right?
It's beautiful.
But it's also kind of me transmuting energy anyways all the time because of the work that I do too. So when I'm talking or I'm working with someone, I'm actually also like going in energetically and creating movement with their energy for them as well. So it's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a gesture that's coming to me. I don't know why. I think it's because of the way your hands are moving. I was with a client recently, and in my book, I have it structured in a 3E framework: embody, empower, elevate. And the embody phase is all about getting re-embodied, understanding our disconnection story, understanding what took us out of alignment and how do we get back in it. And recently I was with one of my clients and she really started to feel like super embodied. We had done some things and her gesture was like, this is kind of how her hands were. And she brought her hands inward like this. And it was so beautiful, like just gathering. And again, the slowness allowed us to really lean into what is the information that we're bringing in here, which were her values, her passions, her dreams, who she really is, her joy, and then it was like stacked up like this. And I just thought that gesture was so beautiful.
It's like centeredness. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like centering, right? You're centering yourself in that embodiment of now this is now a belief that I can operate with.
Absolutely. And it's pulling that energy inside of you, together, and you're using your mind to see it. And from there, actually, I mean, it's just a great example with this specific gesture when the hands are coming into alignment and now I'm embodied. The next phase is empower, where we are now embodied, we are connected to our truth, our values are aligned, we know who we are, we remember who we are, and now we can go into empower. We can create inspired action for our life. We can start to set those goals and get on the journey that feels authentic to us because we're embodied. So now we're feeling empowered. Now this is where the goals come in. So interesting that the gesture then kind of for her just opened up where her palms were facing. It's like, I'm ready to receive what it is that I meant to do in this lifetime. I'm ready to, activate all of that. And then the last part is elevate. And then it's like, for her anyway, it was just like her arms, it was like elevating. And elevating is really all about, I've done the work to get embodied, I feel empowered, and now I can serve. I can elevate. It's beyond me. It's no longer going to stay in me. Now I'm ready to serve and give back to the world. So I just love that whole gesture sequence. And it's a really great example of it coming from her soul, each phase, and then, feeling like that. The last thing that I'll say about that, when we elevate, is in my work anyway, like I said before, this is not about fixing, we're done, we're elevated, okay, check it off the list. This is a cyclical experience that I think mirrors the human experience where transition happens in our life. Divorce, we lose somebody, we move, we get knocked off track again. So we have to do the work of embody, empower, elevate. We go back again, embody. But it's a framework to be like, oh, this is where I am in this journey. It's okay. It's always shifting and going. It's not like, oh, I got there and then I failed. Right. It's like, no, this is a never ending cyclical invitation to just live human and honest,
Yeah. Love all of that. That's fantastic.
Great message. I have one last question. Burnout is such a thing nowadays. And I feel like burnout happens when we are totally disconnected from our bodies. I wonder, do you have a lot of clients who come to you with that? And what could we start to pay attention to avoid getting to that state? Because I'm sure the body is speaking from your experience. What are some signals that our body sends us
for burnout?
Oh
my gosh, we're exhausted, we can't think straight, we can live with angst. I mean, burnout shows up in so many different ways. When you feel like you're just spiraling all the time, when you're in burnout, when you're disembodied. And so the key is to develop a practice, and for me it's the power of gesture, because it takes less than 3 minutes and it can help you really reset. So in the morning, I would suggest for someone that is experiencing that burnout to create that gesture for yourself that really invites in the calm. So it's beyond just meditation, because sometimes people just, the stillness, it's like their mind is just going and it's going. So bringing in the hands really allows us to focus on doing something and calms that down. So whether the hands are just in prayer and then relax them down to your thighs, prayer, do it a few times, or on your heart center, or even I love this gesture of taking our hands and putting it on our head, just like it, and not with the judgment of, can you just relax already? It's more like, I love you. I feel you. I understand. It's okay. Sending these parts compassion and love. So I would say it's the practice, it's the power of gesture. And a lot of people, I know this to be true with my clients, it's like they do it in my sessions, they do it in my workshops and then they forget it because it's hard to, put in another tool or habit or whatever. So I suggest creating an alarm on your phone, that says gesture or gesture time or whatever, maybe like twice in the day. So it just like pops up, or a post-it note and put it on the mirror or next to your bed. And literally you can put on some gorgeous music that you love, because I use music in everything, because I think it's a real beautiful centering, and just do your gestures a few times. And that's it.
Right.
And that can really help us recenter and alleviate the burnout. The burnout thing is a very big conversation.
I know it's like a conversation all on its own. There's so many facets and layers to it. And
but we can fix it. We can not.
Yeah, it's just becoming aware and cueing in your pattern that you create that causes the burnout at the end of the day, and then using like a gesture of some sort to kind of cue you back into your body so you have a moment to process.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I have a 20-minute video that I created, and it's like a 20-minute class. And it's a great intro to the power of gesture. And I think it would help give people a sense of, okay, what
fantastic.
is
Yes.
We'll link that.
Yeah, we'll link that.
And then I'll give you also a link every Tuesday for 30 minutes at 11 o'clock Eastern time. I do a free class.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, clients will love that. That's great. That's beautiful. Thanks so much, Jen.
Or you could do both.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Jen, oh my God, I'm so excited for when your book comes out. When does it come out? It's out. I love it. Beautiful. Congratulations. Fantastic.
Thank you. On Tuesday. Amazon, I'm having my book launch party on all of my channels, like, social channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm doing a live stream from 1 to 2 o'clock Eastern time to launch the book, and that's when it's available.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jen. This was a wonderful conversation. We appreciated your time and your knowledge and your guidance. Thank you so much for coming on the Soul Thrive podcast.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Bye.